When was the last time you truly believed in yourself? I've been thinking about my journey so far, and I was looking back at some of the biggest decisions that I've made. And there's a common thread running through all of them. It's self-belief. And the funny part about self-belief is that it usually exists long before there's any evidence to support it. Because no one hands it to you, and no one tells you that you're ready. Most of the time you're standing at the edge of something uncertain. And the only thing carrying you forward is that belief that you'll get past it. Looking back, every meaningful chapter of my life started the same way. I don't end up moving to Canada and starting from scratch without self-belief. I don't leave behind everything familiar and build a life here without self-belief. I don't build a career and now find myself approaching citizenship without first believing that I could handle anything that this journey came with. And the same thing has happened in smaller ways too. The gym was one of them. When I first started training seriously, there was no certainty of results. You walk into the gym looking exactly the same as when you did the day before. And the day before that, 4 weeks, sometimes months, and it feels like nothing is changing. But you keep showing up. You eventually realize that you're not just building muscle, you're building evidence. Evidence that you can commit to something, evidence that you can keep showing up consistently, evidence that you can change. And once you start believing that you can transform one area of your life, it becomes a lot easier to believe you can transform others. This channel is one example. When I started recording, I was super uncomfortable. I'd overthink every sentence, I'd stumble over my words, I'd record a section and then do it over and over again. But something in me wanted to keep going, not because I had already set an expectation with people or that I thought this channel would eventually grow, but because it felt like something worth exploring. Over time, these videos became less about that camera and more about reflection, a way to wrestle with ideas, a way to understand myself better. Most people think belief comes after success, and I think it's the opposite. Success, growth, confidence, whatever you want to call it, usually comes after you've spent long enough believing in something that doesn't yet exist, including yourself. Because the truth is, you are going to fail. You're going to make decisions that don't work out. You're going to choose the wrong path. But that's a part of the experience. Self-belief isn't believing that you'll always win. It's believing that you'll learn something regardless. It's believing that one disappointment doesn't get the final say. It's believing that your story is still being written. And that's why I find it so powerful, because at the end of the day, you only get one life. You get one character, one opportunity to see what we're capable of becoming. Most people spend far too much time focusing on their flaws, focusing on their mistakes, hoping things were different. But every character has strengths, every character has potential. The question is whether you're willing to give yours a fighting chance. So let me leave you with this. If you believed in yourself just a little more than you do right now, would you be willing to try? Think about it. And thank you for listening. I'll see you guys next week.